Hi, everyone. My name's Kathy, and I'm the author behind the Understanding Personal Finance curriculum. Today, I'm going to take you on a quick walkthrough and show you everything that you'll find in the curriculum. We'll look at a sample lesson as well, and we'll also look at how I set up my student and teacher binders. So, when you first download the curriculum, you're going to get a zip file that has these 11 folders in it that you can see right here. Starting at folder 0, let me open it here. You will find just the basic information about the curriculum. There's a scope and sequence in there and some printable unit dividers, which I'll show you here in a minute how I use those to set up my binder. And also you'll find a video library where I've started to put some recordings of lessons that have Google Slides in them that you can use to catch up absent students or for a day where you're out of the classroom. So you'll find those in that folder. And let's take a look at a sample unit. I'm going to look at this budgeting unit here. Inside, you'll find a folder for each lesson, as well as a folder here at the top that has warm-ups in it for the unit. Let me open one of these so you can see it. The warm-ups are basically a file of Google Slides, and inside you will find questions that move that real quick. You will find questions that are discussion questions, review questions, extra math practice questions, and there is also a template inside for a recording sheet that you can use for your students to record their answers to these. They're just a way for students to start the class with a good discussion question or a review, things like that. So you'll find those in there. Let's look at a sample lesson. The first lesson here, Intro to Budgeting. This Read First file, you will find the teacher instructions, the Google Slides, any answer keys for the lesson. Those will all be in there. Let's open a set of slides here. So when I click the link, you will see the slides open. If we were actually downloading this, you would hit Use Template up here at the corner. But I'll just show you a sample of what they look like inside. These are the slides that you would go through with students. And as you're going through these slides, students will be filling out their guided notes, which look like this for this lesson. Just a place for them to record all of the example problems and any definitions that you go over and things like that. They will write on their guided notes. Now, this particular lesson also comes with a stations activity. This is the recording sheet for the stations activity. In this setup, they will go from station to station answering various questions about wants, needs, savings. They will analyze budgets. There's a few scenarios in there where they have to look at a person and their budget and make sure that they're following a 50-30-20 budget, and they will make recommendations for how to adjust it, things like that. So they will record all those things on this recording sheet, and the stations that have the questions can be found here. So you can see the first question, they have to categorize expenses as wants, needs, or savings. This one is a scenario question where they look at a budget and see if she's following the right structure, things like that. So just a way to get students up, moving, and discussing in just a different way than what they're used to. All the other lessons you can see they're in the files here. This particular unit has a project in it, which is really fun, where they'll get a income and a number of children and things like that. And they will actually have to go through and set up a budget for a family. So that's a really fun project. And each unit also ends with a study guide. Here you can see the study guide. There's an editable version in case you need to customize it, and also a quiz. The quiz comes in a paper version and a Google Forms digital version that is self-grading, except for some of the short answer questions that might be in there. You'll have to grade those by hand, but it will save a lot of time. Okay. And then at the very bottom, you'll see a couple extra files. The pacing guide is there, and also the student packet is a really easy way to print all of the student handouts for the whole unit in one file. So you could print that out at the beginning of the unit and give that to them for the unit. And also the teacher packet is the same. You can print out this teacher packet, and it has all of the instruction sheets, answer keys, all of the teacher files that you would need all in one packet that you can just print at the beginning of the unit, and then it's ready to go. Okay, so that is what you'll find in a unit folder. These other units are set up very similarly. I do just want to point out real quick that the taxes unit gets an update every year. So I really recommend that you sign up for my email list so you get updates on when things are updated. There's a link down in the description where you can find a link to sign up for that. And then also, let's see, the bonus activities at the bottom. There are 3 bonus activities: buying a car, cost of having a baby, and dream vacation on a budget. Those work really well for kind of awkward days in your year where you just need an activity before you start the next unit or before a school break. They don't really fit in a unit, but they work really well for filler activities. Okay, and then folder 10, you will find the semester exam and the study guide, and a couple other review activities. The semester exam comes in a 58 question version and a 100 question version in both paper and a self-grading Google Forms format. There's also a full study guide in here, as well as a bingo review game and a vocabulary review crossword puzzle. You can find those in there. Okay, now I want to take a quick look at how I set up my teacher and student binders, just so you can see what everything looks like printed out. Okay, so here's a quick look at how I set up my teacher binder. I got a set of 10 tabs. I just got these at a office supply store to put each of the files for the units in here. And in the back, I also have the bonus activities and the study guide and final exam files so that I can refer to those throughout the year. At the beginning, I just printed out the scope and sequence, and you can find a copy of this on my website. There'll be some information down in the description if you want to take a look at this. But this just kind of gives you a layout of everything that you're going to cover in the semester. So that is all here for you. And then I'm going to look at the budgeting unit, since that is the unit we just looked at in the folder. You can see the pacing guide here. And for each of these, I've just gone through and printed out the teacher packet, and I've sorted it in here so that I have this on hand if I need a quick look at an answer key or something like that. I have all of the files here. I've put this in a 1-inch binder, but honestly, it's gotten pretty full. You might want a 1.5-inch binder for that. And then for the student files, this is a copy of a student binder. And again, I've just gone through and printed out each of the student packets and put them in here. You could print these all at the beginning of the year, or you could just print them one day at a time, or even one packet at a time. For students to hang on to throughout the semester. I went ahead and got a second set of tabs, but if this were an actual student binder, I would just use these printable unit dividers. These are in the folder 0. There's a link for these, and I've printed it out on cardstock. And this is just what I would use for a divider for students. It just has a list of everything that is included in the unit. And then inside here, it has the guided notes. And again, there's that stations practice activity. And then you can continue to find all of the files that you need for the entire unit would be in here. So that's just a quick overview of how I set up the paper copies and the binders for this curriculum. All right, that's all for this curriculum walkthrough. I hope this helps you get a better look at what's inside the curriculum to see if this is a good fit for you. If you look down in the description, you will find a link to my website, which has a lot more information about the curriculum, as well as if you scroll down to the very bottom, you will be able to download the scope and sequence so you can see everything that's included inside. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to email me. You can always email me at Kathy@ckmath.net. Thanks for watching.